For those of us that just joined us live, welcome to Crafty Thinking. We're going to do this panel kind of as a Q&A. We're going to introduce ourselves, just let you know who we are, what we do, and then just open the floor. Because you're here, you have questions, you either have a business and you want to make it bigger, or you want to start a business, whether it's craft related or not.
We're not really here to talk about ourselves, just in relation to our experiences and our knowledge and how we can help you.
Exactly, because we are here because we want to make you more successful and try to help you. So.
Hi, my name's Nicole. I have my business Crafty Gurumi. I make handmade crocheted dolls and plush, as well as assorted little other craft things as the mood strikes me. I've been running it full time for a year. I've been selling for about 5 to 6 years now, crocheting for almost 12, and before then I worked in retail. I worked all positions in retail, from a sales associate all the way up to a store manager, including being the merchandiser. So my expertise comes in helping you refine your product, helping you with your display, and helping you with the way you present yourself in general. So anything really visual is where you're going to find me helping you out on.
Sorry, I had to close the door because it was super loud out there.
I told you.
I know. And I am Tony. I own Quiltoni and with Nicole Craft Hackers. For Quiltoni, I have been doing for 7 years now.
7?
7. I look back on that.
Nice.
So conventions for 5, actual business 7. So I actually create quilts and pillows, and I specialize in video game, comic book. I also help run my family insurance agency that I have done for 13 years, managing day to day. I don't think it's locked. Maybe I shouldn't have closed it.
No, too late.
Yeah. I help manage that. I also help run Craft Hackers. So I actually have a master's of business degree. So I am more of the business person. I help people with business strategies, taxes, websites, basically anything to promote you and to just help you. I also know a lot of people that have run brick and mortar stores, and of course, running an insurance agency is a brick and mortar. That's a physical location. It is things like that. Yeah, thank you. Just double check. So it is, so we basically can run the gambit. No one there? We can run the gambit of basically a lot of different questions. I know, it doesn't close. It's fine. It's not as noisy anymore.
I would just check to see if the doorknob unlocks from the outside.
That's true. That's that thing. Great. Okay, so questions. If you're here, you have questions.
Yeah.
So anyone?
I'm starting to try to sell artwork and just don't know where to go. Sometimes you don't know how to start doing it.
What type of artwork do you do?
Well, I've got these samples like that. I also sell them too.
Okay, but like what medium do you work in? Are
Graphite
you
mostly.
graphite? Okay.
I'll do acrylic,
Okay.
marker. I'll do whatever.
Whatever strikes your fancy.
Do you have any social media presence?
Not.
Okay, number one with any business, no matter what you do, the first thing you want to do is a social media presence.
Especially with art too, I want to say that. I mean, people knock things like DeviantArt and stuff all the time, but really getting a gallery out there and showing people like your style, that's definitely one of the first things you need to do.
You have to.
Forgot about that. But
Yes. Yeah, so DeviantArt is a good one. DeviantArt, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Flickr, Tumblr.
Tumblr's really good for art too.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them.
Hi.
Hey.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of different social medias that you can do. That's the biggest thing. You have to have a good online presence. You don't necessarily have to have a website until you are bigger or more successful, but you have to have a social media.
And not only that, but because you're working with print, you can really partner with people like Redbubble, for example. They work a lot with traditional 2D artists and help you make a 3D product. You can also, depending on the type of stuff that you design, have other companies print out your stuff. Like, I mean, the stuff you have there looks like almost index card size, 3x5. So you could do postcard side things. I know plenty of 2D artists that do like postcards as opposed to having, those big like 11x17 ones. So that's the other thing you need to figure. Are you going to be mostly a print, or are you also going to be looking into product? Are you going to be having things that are on wallets and clocks and keychains and just t-shirts, what have you? So that'd be the first thing I would suggest is look at your art medium and think about how you want it presented. You know, how do you want this displayed for your consumers? What do you think is going to showcase it best? That would be my first recommendation outside of really working on your social media presence.
Yeah.
And then from there, you would then look into what conventions would suit your style and stuff. Like, for example, my father is a traditional artist and he does a lot of science fiction and fantasy work. He recently did a comic convention with me. Not quite the best fit for him.
No.
He didn't
and
even
we
break
knew that
even
ahead of
for
time.
the table. And so
Yeah.
that's one of the things that you want to research too is what convention styles are going to fit. And there's plenty of sci-fi fantasy conventions, which is what he normally goes to, which is why I was like, why are you here?
Yeah. And that's actually something that we help if people that join Craft Hackers become members. We look at their work and their medium, and we have a fantastic amigurumi, thank you. You always do that. Amigurumi person who is more suited for anime, but she would be good for pop culture, and she's never really done. But she would not do well at a video game or a comic book convention at all. And she was thinking of comic book. I went, no. So we also help match you up. I have a database of over 500 conventions around North America that we research and we do stuff.
So those would be my first steps that I would recommend.
Yeah, so make sure you have your set, you have your present, and then look at conventions and other things.
Well, you're set and then figuring out what you want to do.
Well, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, any other questions?
When you are first starting out, do you have like a strategy? Because it does cost money to just kind of start, going to conventions costs money. Printing your product or whatever craft you happen to do. And a lot of us have, a 9-to-5 job or a part-time job. How do you decide how much money to set aside when you're starting your business and how to manage that a little bit?
There's a saying, and it's absolutely true, it takes money to make money.
Right there.
Things cost a lot. And unfortunately, with businesses, I'm going to be 100% honest. And so Craft Hackers launched 1 year ago. And I rolled Quiltoni as a subsidiary of the Craft Hacker, so I actually have to file taxes one time. Last year, I filed at negative 6,500. I took a loss, and this year, right now, I am sitting at negative 7,000 for the year so far. But I did just pay $2,300 to New York Comic Con, which scares me, paying all that money. So it is a risk, and the biggest way I think to manage that risk is do your research. If you have research and you're comfortable with what you're looking at and what you're doing, it's more comfortable to actually pay that money. And that's the thing, is whenever I was freaking out about that money and I'm negative for the year, my husband looks at me and goes, honey, are you confident? Do you think you're gonna, I'm like, I'll break even this year. He goes, okay, stop worrying, just do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
And I mean, when we say do your research, I mean, don't just limit it to like looking at the conventions, that first step where you're trying to find what fits you. Don't be afraid to talk to like the head of the artist alley at some of the conventions and be like, what's your estimate for the for people that are going to be coming through? How well do you find that your artists do? Because that's the sign of a good head of an artist alley or dealer or vendor space, is they are supposed to come around during the weekend and check with us. How are you guys doing? How are your sales? Because our feedback affects who they bring back next year, as well as helps them with their layout and all of that stuff. So don't be afraid to reach out to those people. That's part of their job of setting up the alley and stuff, is to be that resource.
The questions you want to ask, that's a good point.
Yeah.
You want to ask, number one, what is your target market? So who are the people that are attending that convention? Number two, what is your sales? Now, and this is the thing, they may say a turnstile. Turnstile is if someone leaves and comes back, they're counting them as 2 people.
Yeah.
So you have to be very careful. If they give you an attendance, is that turnstile or is that tickets?
Yeah.
So they'll sneak that through there. So those are the 2 big things. And if they don't share that with you, you don't want to do that convention, because that's a little shady.
Yeah.
So
It's definitely shady. I mean, So you want to look at that, and then yeah, the first few conventions that you're gonna do, don't be jumping to New York Comic Con. You know, this is several.
This is my 5th year doing
Yeah.
conventions, and now we've done C2E2, Gen Con, and then now I'm ready for the New York Comic Con. And this is
And you know, there's no time limit on when you have to start this. So don't be afraid to like spend a couple of months to a year gathering all this information and talking to people. And while you're doing that, you'll be able to build up your stuff. You'll be able to build up your stock slowly over time instead of like having to mass print. You'll be able to keep your eye out on things like, for me as a 3D artist, I'm constantly shopping at Joann's, Michael's, AC Moore, and Hobby Lobby. I mean, and
especially those Black Friday deals.
Use coupons like you wouldn't believe. There are things like, I currently have 9 bags of poly pellet stuffing at home ready to use. I don't need 9 bags right now, but I will sometime in the future. And so I go ahead and get it when I have my 50% off coupon, because I'd rather pay $5 for that than $10, because that's going to affect my end cost and the price that I'm able to sell things to people and how much profit I make, obviously. So you really want to make sure that, you know, when you're gathering resources, isn't like a limited time frame. It's not like you have a week to do all your research.
And you're spreading the cost over time.
And when you're spreading it over time, it doesn't hurt your wallet as much. You know, if you're trying to do like $1,000 right up front, give me all the prints, and then when you bomb and you're like, this is the worst, why did I decide to do this? Well, you need to have been a little smarter about it. So don't be afraid to take your time. This isn't a head first, you know, go thing. Like I've said, you know, I've been doing conventions for 5 years, but last year in April was the first time I started doing this full time. You know, it took that long for me still doing conventions on the side while working a full-time job before building an audience, building, you know, or like doing the research on as I go to conventions, even though I think it's going to be good, what I actually did and what I think it could do in the future. Am I going to go again? It took years for me to build that up. So this isn't a run and go. This is it's a slow process.
Yeah. Okay, next question. It's a Q&A. So if you have questions about running your own business. Anything else? Yeah.
You mentioned social media earlier. When you have all your accounts, do you have like a kind of a strategy on how to talk to people and what to post, like how to kind of get people to interact with you, but also your products?
Yeah, it actually depends upon the social media. So Facebook is good for product shots, for finished products, for talking about things related to your, you know, basically just throwing stories out there, things like that. Instagram is just quick, like I'll post a bunch of stuff on the convention for Instagram, like, oh my gosh, hey, look at this, and things like that. Twitter is all about interaction. You can post a daily thing to Twitter, but you have to add people. You have to search other people out, and you have to interact with them. If someone tweets at you, you must respond. It's all about interaction. So those are the biggest things with the social media.
Yeah. And the other thing that can be helpful, like for example, my website, I have a front blog, which I haven't updated in a while, my bad.
On a regular basis, you should blog. If you have a blog, make sure you do it on a regular basis. Mine's every Wednesday.
When I post on there, you know, I can schedule my posts. And then I have it set up through the website that when it posts there, it posts a link directly onto my Facebook as well as to my Tumblr account. So the people that don't necessarily check my website all the time, which, you know, who does that, they can instead just get an alert on their normal social media things being like, hey, I've got this thing up, and you can read it and check it out.
I actually have a video on the Craft Hacker YouTube site on how to update your social media in 5 minutes. So it's a quick video. It just says, you know, open these up, go boom, 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 boom. Great, your social media's updated. You're done for the day if you want to. And it hits all of those things. So, and then, what was the other thing about social media? I forget. I'll think of it later.
I don't know, but yeah, I probably use Facebook out of the most. I'm the worst to ask about this. Tony can tell you. I'm really the worst about social media. And part of it's because I have a really big commitment in my private life right now. It's really hard for me to budget more time for. So in the future, I will have no excuses and I will have to be better. But right now,
and I will get on you.
You will. Yes. She gives me leeway right now because she knows what's going on.
That's another thing with Craft Hacker members. If they tell me what their weakness is, I get on them and
she will.
Yeah. Because that's what we need sometimes to kick in the butt.
You do.
So, okay. Any other questions?
What about when you're working with a media that might not survive the time? So I work a lot with clay, specifically with Sculpey, things like that, where if you don't use it for, 8 months, it's then hard as a rock, and it's really difficult to kind of bring it back to life. So my biggest challenge is, where I'm seeing a lot of issue, I do a lot of commission stuff.
Sure.
And that's easy, because then people are like, this is what I want.
Yep.
I go get the colors, the products, everything I need, I make it, I'm good to go. My challenge is with my net, because now I'm spending all this money on all these, I try to stock up, I'm like, oh, I got 50%
Yeah,
off
but
coupon on Michael's.
the perishables, yeah.
The perishables, exactly. So I'm really trying to start to mass produce like little things and jewelries and things like that, so I can sell those, but my biggest challenge is I don't know how those are going to do. So what's your recommendation maybe for a test market for that? Do you think it's something that I should put on social media, or I don't really know what to do with it?
Put everything on social media.
Yeah.
Everything you
Especially
do.
if you already have, like you said, you've been making stuff and you get commissions, so clearly you already have a following and you have some people that are checking out your stuff and coming to look at your things. So yeah, make a couple of test things, like some jewelry, like you were saying, and put that on, see what the response is to it. Are you getting a lot of hits, favorites, whatever, on your DeviantArt, on your pages, what have you, comments back on it, and based on people's responses, you can be like, oh, okay, well, maybe not this one, but maybe this, and just make a couple of them. And yeah, if you have to make, like, pick a number for how many different styles you're going to make. Don't overwhelm yourself. I mean, I haven't been to this convention in 3 years, and I can already tell it's, well, first off, it's being run a lot better, but two, I have a much increased catalog from that I did 3 years ago. I mean, easily double or triple the size. So I'm getting a lot more people coming by and checking stuff out because I have things. But when I started, I had a much smaller selection because you have to see what people respond to. And you have to take in that feedback too. So don't be afraid to just make, like, even just 5, sets of different type of things.
Yeah, when you're doing something new, don't go...
And don't make a ton
Yeah.
either. Whenever I make a new plush, I mean, for example, my wearable Metroids, which are new for me this year. I've only been making them since January. I
And she
debuted
sells on
them.
every convention now.
I don't. I debuted them at MagFest, and the first time I ever make a plush, a new one, I make 2. Because then that way it's not taking up a lot of space, and if it doesn't sell well, then I will carry it for a little bit, and I know never make a lot of this thing. And in that case, no, they were both gone in the first hour. So I was like, never mind. It kind of bit me in the ass, but then I had brought the stuff to make in case it was popular.
Yeah.
I have that luxury as a amigurumi maker. So
Unfortunately, I can't make
I know,
stuff
I
at
know you can't.
Change the day on your
Someone,
I know.
Someone's behind me having this stuff tomorrow. But anyway, so don't be afraid to do that. Just don't go crazy on how much that you make. Make just, like I said, if you pick like 5 or 10 pieces that you're making to try out, that decide what number you're comfortable with. And it might be helpful because, like you're saying, with Sculpey having X amount of shelf life, maybe see how many like earrings you can get. Like, let's, off the top of my head, I'm thinking like Mario Superstar, right? Like that shape. How many of those earrings can you get out of one thing of yellow? And then like stop.
Right.
Oh, I know, it's a lot. But I mean, like,
Yeah.
limit. That way, when you've made it all, you don't have to worry about like that going bad. You just have to worry
Right.
about slowly selling out that stuff.
Exactly. And that's the thing with the perishables. There's 2 things you want to do. First thing is whenever you do your pricing for your goods, price it on the actual things you're using to make your products
Right.
at being regular price.
Yeah.
You can get sales on them, and great, that's a little extra money in your pocket, but don't count on the sales, especially when you get the last minute commissions and things like that. You can't guarantee it's going to be on
Yeah.
sale.
You can't guarantee you're gonna be on
Always
sale.
price it based on all of your pricing being regular price. And then when it looks like, okay, well, I've had something, put the dates on there, date things. So take a little sticker, and if you buy it on January 15th of 2015, put a sticker on there. If you know the shelf life is 9 months, at 7 months, go, I've got to make something right now with this.
Yes.
You're not throwing it away, you have something, and you can always clearance it out.
Yeah.
There are other ways to store that. They have these,
Yeah, Google, there's ways to store it too, so it lasts like up to 2 years.
Airtight containers right now, I've got
Those are the
everything.
airtight containers. You want to get this, they're like these baking sheets that you can get. They're not wax paper, but there's another type. Wrap it in that and then put it in the airtight.
Okay.
So we have directly.
Oh, I know what what she's talking
Is it
about.
parchment paper?
No, it's not. There's a special thing that Michael's has for baking
Oh,
them. If you
okay.
wrap it in that, it
Yes.
actually makes it more moist and protects it.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
it's,
what I'm
and
talking
they're a
about.
little bit more. They're a little bit expensive, but it would be worth
But
it.
it protects my investment.
Exactly, it's
And then I
definitely worth
can
it.
sell
I will say I use Sculpey occasionally because for the little dolls that I make, I'll make little accessories for them out of Sculpey.
Right.
I have found that Sculpey compared to Primo, Sculpey will stay soft for me longer than Primo will.
That's why I switched over to Sculpey.
Yeah.
When I managed that Michael's, every time people would come and look at the Sculpey, I'd be like, nope, my friend says that the Sculpey, this is what you want. Yeah.
It never has directly against the plastic, it will
Yeah.
reach out and kill it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, next question. Anyone? Yes.
About copyright stuff.
Okay, copyright.
A lot of our hobbies kind of start out with like fandom or something like that,
Mhm.
and then when we start to sell them, we kind of have to worry about like the legal ramifications of using other people's properties.
Yes, the cease and desist. So there are, and Nicole always has me do all this because I know the legalese.
Yes, she does.
There are 3 different levels for copyright. There is the green light, you are perfect, you're fantastic, you are legally good. You have the gray area, and then you have the, oh, you are blatantly copyright. If you don't get a cease and desist, they may just even sue you. So the blatant copyright, if you mass produce something, so without the permission of the original creator. So that is if you, not just factory, but printing. If you're an artist, if you do an actual commission on something for someone, it may be a green light or it may be a gray area. But the moment you mass produce, if it's a gray area, you're now blatant copyright protection, blatant copyright infringement. Thank you. So you're blatantly doing it, and that's why you see a lot of print artists don't have online stores because it's harder to track them down. So that is the blatant. I cannot sell my patterns for my quilts. I get asked all the time, do you sell your patterns? At that point, it's now mass production. It will cross the line to blatant, and I either would get sued or a cease and desist.
It's the same thing with amigurumi too. You know, there was one person that actually was trying to sell they made an adipose crochet pattern and they were trying to sell that online. And Doctor Who or BBC, they generally don't care because the main thing with the TARDIS, that can't be copyrighted. It's in the public domain, which is why you see it used more than anything else.
But the adipose is
a
copyrighted.
specific
Right.
thing, and they really don't care about most fan stuff, but because this person was selling the pattern, that then falls into mass production,
And they went after them.
and they went after it.
Yeah, so that is the blatant, you have crossed the line, don't even think about it. Don't do it. And if you do it, be very careful, because they can come after you.
Yeah.
So that's the crossing the line. The green light is if you do your own stuff, your own character, your own thing. If you do a pixel on a person, you create something just for them. It's, your caricatures. Those are all green lights, perfect, because it's you. It's something you're doing. Also is the stretching something so it doesn't quite look, what's the terminology?
Distortion.
Parody?
Parodies, thank you. Parodies, distortion sometimes, and when you're making fun of it.
No, that's a parody one, yeah.
But I'm thinking, there's another terminology. But if you, what is it?
Derivative.
Yes, derivative.
That's it.
So if you change it so much so, it is nothing like the original, but
It harkens.
it harkens back to it, that is protected under the government.
Perfect
Green light.
example, most of the t-shirts out there. That's
Yes.
why you see a lot of ones that are like funny and silly, and yeah, they catch your eye and they make you go, oh, this is great, I really like that, that's cute, but it's a parody, and it's derivative, and it's no longer like completely based off that source material.
Right, so that is 100% legal. The gray area is a lot of us crafters fall into the gray area. Gray area is if you are making something original, one of a kind, completely based off of something else without the permission of that person. If you get the permission, if you buy the rights,
Yeah,
get
like
the permission,
a lot of-
you're green light.
For example, a lot of people like with indie games and stuff that don't have these stores that they sell things out where they're manufacturing stuff out in China. I know several people that have contacted them and be like, hey, I make this, whatever, do you mind me selling it and stuff? They're like, no, as long as you
Yep.
make sure you tell people like where it's from, link back to us, and
Yep,
give
exactly.
credit that way, we're totally fine with that.
Yeah.
So you can reach out to some of the smaller companies and they really don't mind about that.
Yeah. So if you're making one of a kind, so the artist that does a Green Lantern drawing, or someone that does a Mario and Peach, or me with my quilts, or Nicole with her dolls, these are all based upon something else. And as long as you are making it and doing it yourself, not mass producing, and the original owner of the copyright, A, doesn't see it, or B, sees it and says, okay, then you're good. Now, in that case, if you get a cease and desist, at that point they have seen it, they've said, no, you must stop.
Yeah.
One of our Craft Hacker members is a soap maker. Fantastic. She makes these wonderful soaps. She did get a cease and desist from a video game company that is very adamant about they do not want any of their things ever made, no matter what, no nothing, no 3D art, no regular art, nothing. And
Yeah.
anything they see, they send you a cease and desist because they want control over everything they do. So immediately she took it all down from her site and she said, okay, that's it, can't do it. So now, there are some companies you know that will come after you every time. Disney.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, the one I always say all the time.
I don't know, the game company you're just talking about was Bethesda.
Yeah, Bethesda. You can't even think of, there's one as an anime that I always mention.
Is it Funimation?
No, it wasn't Funimation, but they may, I don't know.
Funimation can be kind of strict about it because they own things like Dragon Ball Z and stuff that are like really popular. I think they own Bleach too.
Nintendo loves us.
Yeah.
Loves us.
Yes,
They love 3D artists, and they actually feature us on their website sometimes.
Mhm.
Our Craft Hacker a Craft Hacker member, Mark, actually, Rice Hat Samurai, is a fantastic jewelry maker. He makes He's a professional goldsmith. If you actually look at the Nintendo site, if you've seen the Triforce engagement ring, that's Mark. And Nintendo actually saw it and went, oh hey, and featured him, and actually has a partnership with him now, and they promote him, and it's just, he loves
I
it.
didn't realize they had a partnership with
I
them.
know.
That's really
Yeah, they
cool. Good
love
for
Mark, and Nintendo loves us, and so we love Nintendo.
Nintendo likes you as long as you're not misrepresenting their stuff.
Yeah.
If you show their stuff in bad light because
Oh,
they're such a
yes.
family company, they're like, no. But as long as you're making family-friendly, nice things,
Yes.
Nintendo's like, more power to you guys.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you're not going to go family friendly, you must go parody, or else you are in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all copyright. Next question. We have 20 more minutes. Anything? I don't know. We have like 100 people in the room, and it's like we have to. It's like and like 5 panelists, and it's hard to. Yes, ma'am.
So when you've kind of gotten established and you decided you want to take the next step to, like, okay, I'm seriously going to make this business, where do you start? You have to go see a lawyer to register your company. Like, what would you do?
You don't have to see a lawyer to register
Yeah,
your
no,
company. You do that all online.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. Now you can actually apply for an LLC. There's 3 different things you can do. You can do a sole proprietorship if you own it by yourself. You can do a partnership. Technically, Craft Hackers even though we are partners, is a sole prop, and Nicole is an employee of mine because it is easier for taxes. That way she doesn't have to file taxes with that. So it all goes on me. So you can do a sole prop, you can do a limited liability corporation. Limited liability corporations are fantastic for legal reasons. Let's say if someone decides that my quilt strangled their child and they want to sue me. Because I'm a sole prop, they can come after all of my assets, including my house and my cars. If I am an LLC, they can only come after the proceeds of my company.
Yeah.
And they can't come after me. So an LLC is a little bit more for tax, there's a little bit more tax things in there. So
It kind of protects you a little bit.
It protects you more. There's a lot more complications with taxes is what I meant.
Yeah.
But it protects you more. So there's a couple different things that you can do there. And of course, like I said, the partnership.
So the other things you also want to look into is making sure, look at the profits you've been doing. Because you have to look at the profit, because if you're going full time, you're not going to have that 9-to-5 job anymore relying on for income. So you got to make sure that the income that you're getting is not only going to cover the cost of the convention and show and whatnot, it's going to cover your daily living expenses. It has to cover your food, your gas, your car, your bills, your cell phone, all of that. You have to make sure you're covered. One of the reasons it was low risk for me is one, because I'm moving my ass to Canada, and two, because I have no debt right now.
Yeah.
I have no car
Doesn't she make
loans.
you sick? She has no, I looked at no debt.
My bills every month, I have a car insurance that's $55, and I have a cell phone bill that's $55. Those are all my bills every month.
My master's degree is still $50,000
Everything
debt
else, like my
alone.
food and stuff, I don't keep as good of the tabs on, so clearly I have, money that goes to that. But as far as like these things I have to pay, it's those two. So I'm very much in the minority for that. And I will have debt in the future when my husband and I get a house. But for right now, I don't. But that's something that, we've talked about and considered. And thankfully, my husband is keeping his full-time job, though he's considering getting into woodworking and doing part-time. And then I would have a table with him where I would have mine and he would showcase his stuff and we would do it together, and it would just be a part-time thing.
Yeah, so just make sure you can afford it. And then, in the eyes of the government, you are not a business if you continue to take a loss year after year.
Yeah, you can take a loss for 3 years in a row.
3
After that,
years,
you have to show profit.
You must show profit, or they're going to come after you and make you pay all that back again.
Pay which-
Because if you take a loss, so let's say if you make $10,000 on your regular job, and then you take a $2,000 loss on your business. This is your first year in business. You only have to pay taxes on $8,000. They actually roll your small business into your other daytime job stuff. So it's great for me because whenever I get my sewing machine cleaned and stuff like that, I can write that off. It's a matter of your write-offs versus how much you make. But if you go 3 years in a row with taking a loss, the government's like, wait, this is a hobby. This is not a business.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure that you are going to make a profit within 3 years whenever you decide to start filing taxes for your business.
Yeah.
And you actually start seriously considering it. In the US, you do not have to file for a business license if you are
Yeah.
doing a home business. Only if you have a brick and mortar location. If you have a physical location, do you have to go and actually file with the government saying, hey, I'm a business and I have this location. If you're running it from your house, conventions, whatever, online,
and you'll still get a thing.
you don't have to
like,
do it.
I got a thing this year around tax time for the first time, and it was like, oh, we need to know what your business owns as property, and it's like asking me all this stuff, and then
Haven't
finally, like
gotten that
question
yet.
6, it was like, if you have less than $10,000 that you own for property for your business, click yes, and you do not need to fill out anything else. And I'm like, that's me. Because it's like, since I work out of my house, so I don't have a location, I don't have office space that, or furniture and stuff that I've had to fill it with. It's just my supplies, and yarn isn't that expensive. Even if you throw in my car, which is old as hell, it's 92 Honda,
Again,
that's
no
not
debt.
even getting near.
Yeah.
Near. So,
Now, just because you are not registered as a business and file taxes doesn't mean you don't pay sales tax.
yes.
You must pay sales tax. The way the laws work, if you sell something within your state, doesn't matter if it is at a convention, online, whatever, you must pay sales tax in that state. So let's say if you have an Etsy store and you're in Pennsylvania and someone in Pennsylvania buys from you on Etsy, you're supposed to pay sales tax. And if you are at a physical location, at a convention, we are going to pay sales tax this weekend. So you have to pay sales tax whenever you are in front of a person. So on those two situations, you must pay sales tax, and if you don't pay sales tax, they will find out, and they will come after you, especially conventions, because they tell the government that, hey, these people were all here at this convention, and they then look and go, hey, where are the taxes?
Yeah, where's our share, buddy?
Yeah.
And speaking on touching on topic taxes real quick, for convention pricing, do yourself a big favor, include taxes into your pricing. As convention goers, the last thing any of you want to deal with is change. So the last thing you want to make people deal with is like, yes, that's going to be $25.37.
Yeah.
And then you have to
they
carry
say-
it all in your
yeah.
cash box.
Or they say, what's the price? Oh, it's $30. Oh, great, I'll take it. Okay, that's $32.80.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was.
Yeah, you said it was 30. Oh,
It's
well,
just
this is with
easier.
tax.
Yeah, there are people, especially the actual brick and mortar stores. Brick and mortar stores will always do that because they have a brick and mortar, and
Yeah.
that's what their software. There's no way for them to include it in the software.
There isn't.
But if you are an artist, a crafter, whatever, and you don't have a brick and mortar, just include it. It
Include
makes
it.
everyone so much happier.
It makes your life easier, and seriously,
And
most,
keep track of
most
everything at the
taxes
end,
are
yeah.
like 5%, you know, or like 10% or less. And just
Pennsylvania sucks. It's like 8%. You've got like you got like,
California's 12.
oh my gosh, you have like 2 taxes. You have a county tax and you have a state tax here in Pennsylvania. It's weird.
So anyway, so just put that
I
into
take
your
she doesn't
cost.
know. I've taken care of all the tax stuff. She doesn't yet.
So just put that in there because it's going to make your life easier. It makes your customer happy because you're just dealing with round numbers and just done so much easier.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to bring that up.
And really quickly, because we are live streaming, for anyone that is in Canada, if you see this, in Canada, you must register your business before you sell anything. So if you live in Canada, you have to actually register your business. You do not have to collect sales tax if you make under $30,000 a year.
Yeah.
You don't have to collect and pay sales tax. You don't have to file the taxes, I believe is under $10,000. You don't have to file, but even if you make only $2,000 in Canada, it's even for anyone. If you make just $1,000 a year, it's worth filing it and paying it and doing it because you now have proof of income for car loans, house loans, things like that. That's a benefit of filing
Because,
those.
actually, when I did Clown Bravo with her last year, I talked to some artists that were there, and they had friends that were having trouble getting a house loan because they'd done the convention circuit. Yeah, you remember? And they did well, but they were under the 30,000 mark, and it's like, oh my God, yeah, if I don't have to file that, why am I going to bother? But since they
Con Bravo's in
they
Ontario.
have no proof of income. So even though they're like, look, we have this large sum of money we would like to give you, the bank's like, I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, it's like, how do I know what you're making? What are you doing? It's
Where they want to guarantee that you're going to
So,
pay them,
Yeah, so you always want to
and
do
that's
that.
what that paperwork is.
Okay, I think that's all the tax stuff. Canada, US. Okay, yes.
Anytime.
Yeah. Oh, no, we still have 10 more minutes.
Okay.
I know, doesn't it feel, we normally have 4 or 5 people, so it takes like 10 minutes to answer a question because everyone has to go down and answer it.
It hasn't been just you and I in a while.
I know, and that's
See,
just
look,
the
I
first,
don't spend
not
so much
even,
time talking, there's just a few of us.
because I cut you off. Okay, so next.
How do you get a first sale? A lot of times, that's the hard part. Getting the
So,
first
yeah,
sale,
so it's-
other than like, friends.
Right, yeah, so it's, yeah, obviously, obviously
and-
friends, but a lot of it is the social media. It's not your store. So Etsy, Store Envy, online marketplaces, things like that, you have to support them. They aren't gonna just come. So if you have an Etsy shop, don't get discouraged if after 3 months you sell nothing.
Oh.
Because you can't just, you have to send people there. You have to do these things. You
I
have to-
opened an Etsy shop because I decided to start getting into this when I got unemployed when the economy went to shit, and I got let go from my job because they didn't have money to pay me anymore. So I was like, well, I'll open an Etsy shop and I'll try it with it because I was just getting into doing this. And yeah, no one bought any of my stuff. No one knew who I was from whatever. It wasn't until I started doing conventions and putting myself out there and really getting people to come to me that my shop has done business. And even more so in this past year, since I've really been pushing more for it and spending more time on it.
And you've been doing more conventions.
I got a whole bunch of Christmas sales last year, and I told Tony, I was like, I don't know what we're gonna have at MagFest because I'm making like 10 orders a week, and I'm used to making like 2, so this is really.
She was freaking out for MagFest.
Because they're right after Christmas, and everyone was placing all these orders on Black Friday.
Yeah. So and the biggest thing with the sale. So obviously, the marketplaces are great, but if you're not going to get sales unless you do something. The social media is the big thing because let's say if your friends like your stuff and they commission, if you put it up on social media, what are they going to do? They're going to share it with all their friends. They're going to be like, hey, look at what my friend made me. This is fantastic. They're going to go, oh, look at this. It's going to share. Find out what is popular. Whenever someone kept telling me to make a TARDIS quilt, and I finally made a TARDIS quilt. I had never watched Doctor Who. I had no clue. I finally made a TARDIS quilt. It went viral. And it was just amazing. It took off, and it took me almost a year and a half before I could actually have TARDIS quilts in stock, because it took me a month to make. So it's like everyone's clamoring, and of course, if they say, hey, I want it right now, oh, you don't have it right now? Okay, never mind. And they go, so it's that kind of thing. And I still don't have any in stock right now, because I sold out last month. So it's a matter of making something that will get that attention and putting it out there and encouraging that. And the other thing is to get a network. Get the support of people that you can get them to promote you. So the biggest thing, I'm a big social person. I go out and I put myself out there, and yeah, that's the thing I do.
She's very extroverted, I'm very introverted.
At a convention, I always make sure I know the person that runs the convention. I'm the person that runs the Artist Alley, actually, and the convention itself. I always meet at least 2 new vendors or artists. Always. I introduce myself, I talk to them, I invite them out for drinks or dinner, and we talk business. What do you do? Great, tell me about you, I'll tell you about me. How can I promote you? You promote me.
You also get to write off that going out as a business expense.
You can! Every time. Tonight we're going to go out with Ann and Matt down at the end of our out. Yeah, we're going to write that off.
Sweet.
Yeah. So I actually and I make it a point when I go to a convention. Whoever I had dinner with on Friday, even if I had a fantastic time, I love them to death. They're going to be my new best friend. Someone different on Saturday. You have to constantly network because what you're doing is you're putting yourself out there, and by doing that, they're going to promote you if they like your stuff also, and then you're going to get sales. So the first sale is very hard from someone you don't know.
Yeah.
It's just persistency. And ask for feedback. That's the biggest thing. Oh, Artist Alley International. Facebook. If
Take it
you
with a
are
grain of
any
salt,
kind
though.
of artist, crafter, whatever, join the Facebook group Artist Alley International. It has over 5,000 members. It is fantastic. It is wonderful. I am very vocal on there, especially when it comes to pricing.
Well,
If people will all say, hey, how much do you think I should price this at? And everyone else will go, oh, that looks like $10. And I go, hold on a second. How long did it take you to make that? What was your price? How much are your materials? Oh, that took you 3 hours to make and $5 in materials? Oh, that is not a $10 thing. Minimum $30 to $40. So I'm a very vocal person on there with pricing.
I chip in sometimes when I feel I have something to contribute, but you also want to, just like with any other critiques and criticism, take it with a grain of salt, because some people on there are
they're idiots.
All I do is original art, and
This is being live streamed. This is being live streamed.
Sorry.
So that's with anything. With anyone in the world. People are going to hate you. People are going to love you. It's ask for criticism, and that they have a big thing. They actually have a work in progress Wednesdays, where you can put up stuff you're working on and ask for feedback. They have a self-promotion Sunday, where you can say, hey, look at this fantastic thing I'm doing. And you can do that on Sundays. On Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday is for everything else not related to your stuff. Hey, does anyone know where I get this material? Has anyone heard about this convention? How do you get a good hotel?
That it is
Things like
really
that.
good for when you're trying to find some convention information out. I will say that the group there is really top notch about getting back to you.
I love
on
the group. The
convention
group is
feedback.
fantastic. Love it.
Yeah, I would take them with a grain of salt when it comes to their opinion on your artwork and critiquing, because there are some people there that feel
But it doesn't mean you don't listen to it.
No, you don't. It just depends on the way you put it. Like all critiquing, it needs to be done in a good way, not just like, well, your stuff sucks. Because
ignore that stuff. If they say your stuff sucks, ignore it. If they actually say, oh, I think maybe you should go this.
yes. So
and have thick skin. No matter if you are in business for yourself, no matter what you do, thick skin, smile.
Oh, and that reminds me. So one of the things I want to touch on with getting your first sale, when you're tabling, when you're at a convention, and that's when you're really like maybe thinking about your first sale.
Thick skin.
Attitude. You know, I have a great story. My sister and her friend were tabling at Otakon, and they both did art together. You know, they're both 2D traditional medium artists.
And good products, too. It's a great product. They both had good products.
Had different styles, but they both had, they were both very well done. My sister, happily drawing, smiling, talking to people, this, that, and the other, and, getting some sales. And her friend would just see this, and she was just like, no one likes my stuff. Why am I even here? And if you sit at your table and you're just like,
or if you sit down and if you're drawing and you're sitting like this, people aren't going to stop.
Yeah.
They want to interact with you. If you notice, if you come to our area, we're standing. We're always standing, interacting. It kills our feet. Sometimes Nicole will sit because I'll sew, she'll crochet. We will both be on if you notice, we have DSs. We play with the DSs. If you notice, I'll have the DS. Street passing's fantastic for conventions. I'll stand, I make eye contact with every single person that goes by while I'm doing it.
yeah.
So it's always, so don't ever play games. You can't make eye contact with people.
Yeah, don't play games. Street Pass is great because you can just pick it up and put it down.
And you can close it and
But yeah, that's a
Yeah.
big thing with your tabling. You want to have a positive attitude because being down and oh, no one likes my stuff. Yeah, think about it. Are you going to go to the table that has the person just kind of like sitting there looking like they're having a horrible time? I'd be like,
Right.
oh, it sucks.
Yeah, you don't want to go talk about it.
So,
And same thing online too. If you have to think about how you're going to portray yourself online. Don't criticize anyone ever online where someone can take a screenshot and it will come back to you. No matter what situation, there's Saskatchewan. Yeah, look up the Saskatchewan convention when you guys get a chance. Yeah, so don't ever criticize anyone. Don't ever be very careful, be very aware of you and your business because you are representing yourself. So always be aware, be positive, be outgoing.
yeah, even if someone's a jerk to you on there, like
Don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah, I mean, I had someone, I make, there's a couple of stitching patterns that I make and I just throw out there for free for people to download. And I did one that was a video game alphabet. So it's like A is for asteroids, B is for bubble bobble. I had the sprites really well received. And, you know, the designing got better as I went through the alphabet. But someone commented, they were like, oh, well, I see you didn't do like this for this or like whatever thing that they happen to like love and cherish. And I was like, well, you know, thank you for the feedback. If you'd read the description, you would see that I picked things based off of games that I had personally played, games that my friends knew, and then all else fails, ones that I just found to fit the letter. Because you get to letter J and you're working with sprites and you're like,
what's J? I can't even think
I
of what I'm
tried Jack and Daxter. That was my first try, and does not fit in the format. I ended up going with Joe and Mac, which like nobody knows.
Actually, it's a good series. It's a very good series.
Yeah, it is.
I've never heard of it.
And I was like, so, you know, if you had read that, you would see that, you know, if there's something that you would like in the future, though, you can always request it. But I am so happy that you like that series. I bet it's really important to you.
Yeah.
And just, you know, I'm being very positive out there at the same time being like, dude, if you read
Screw
the
you.
thing, you would have seen it.
Now, it's
So-
someone else would be like, yeah, screw you. Okay, but
Yeah.
that's not, now what you may have done is that person may then come back to you and have a sale. Because what happens when you say screw you to someone? It's going to snowball and you're going to get a horrible reputation. It's going to go down. So,
Yeah, whereas when I did, the guy came back and he was like, oh yeah, I guess I was a bit of a jerk. I'm really sorry about
yeah.
that. And I
So
was like,
you're not just thinking about yourself now. If you have a business, you're thinking about your business.
public image.
Exactly. So you have to think about that. Hence why I wear all this and do makeup and hair and
Well,
this
and
is
think
not
about-
how I normally look on a regular basis.
How many people stopped going to Chick-fil-A once they found out that the CEO doesn't support, you know, gay rights? And it's just like, oh, well, I don't believe that you are right-minded, sir, so I no longer
Even though it has
eat your
nothing to do
food.
with their business, that's portraying in its public image.
Exactly.
So that's what you have to think and keep in mind. Okay, so we are done.
Awesome.
Next time for the panel, so thank you. So as I said, we have live streamed this on Hang With, so actually people may be watching this right now as we're doing it. As soon as we finish, I'm going to hit stop, and it's going to get uploaded to my personal Quiltoni site.
Yeah.
And then within a week, I'm going to clean it up a bit, cut off the beginning and ending where I'm standing up and turning the camera off, and I'll put it up on YouTube. So if you don't remember anything we talked about, in a week, this will be up on YouTube. We have our business cards and then information on Craft Hackers if you want to come get it.